What's going on, guys? I want to show you how we were able to generate 13 replies from college coaches in just 10 days for an athlete that we were working with. This is going to be part of a series called Earn More Scholarships, where we dive into the behind the scenes process of really how we're able to generate this much interest in a short period of time for some of the athletes that we're working with. Now, before I actually show you the campaign, I need to kind of walk you through the metrics that you're going to see so we understand what we're really looking at. Okay. The first piece is the schools contacted. This is pretty obvious. Those are just the schools that we reached out to. Now, we typically reach out to quite a few. So in this particular example, you're going to see 98 of them. Then you have total opens and clicks. This is going to be the total number of times that a coach opened an email or clicked on an email. So if you have 100 schools that you reach out to and you send each of them 4 emails, right? That's 400 potential emails that they could open. So even though you're only emailing 100 schools, you might get 300 opens. And so that would be considered a total open. And then you also have unique opens, right? So if you only email 100 schools and 85 of them open up one of your emails, then 85 would be the unique number of opens that you have. See how that's different from total opens, but both of them are important to track. And then the last one obviously would be replies, because we all want replies. So this is the campaign that we're going to look at today. This is from an active client. So as you can see in the top left-hand corner, the campaign is about 76% of the way through. So it's 3/4 of the way through. We still have 25% to go. So these numbers are going to change over the next few days. But so far to this point, we've sent 275 emails, and 233 of those 275 have been opened. As you can see, there were 98 total leads here. And so I want to walk you through what this campaign actually looks like and what these numbers mean, because actually understanding the purpose and what's going on behind the numbers is the important part. And that's what's actually going to help you. So let's start with the total number of leads. As you can see, there's 98 here. 98 might sound like a lot to you. It might sound like a little to you. It really depends on the person that you're talking to. For most people, that's going to sound like a lot. Now, here's what I'll say. When we send emails on behalf of an athlete, of course, we're going to send a lot of them because that's our job. But if you're sending these emails yourself, a much more respectable number that you should go for is about 50 schools. Okay. If you hit 50 schools, you're probably going to get at least some version of interest. When we do it for people, we send obviously a lot more than that. Now, the second thing that I want you to notice here is the unique opened. This means that 90 of those 98 schools opened an email. Now, here's what you have to understand. If your open rate is 50% or lower, then there's something wrong with your campaign. And there's a couple different problems that could be the case when you talk about a low open rate. It could be that the domain that you're sending from, the email address, does not have a good reputation and it's going into the promotions folder or the spam folder. It could be that you're emailing the wrong coach, right? A coach who doesn't have a lot to do with recruiting. It could be that you have the wrong contact information for that coach. So you have the right coach, but the wrong contact information, so it never gets to them. It could be that you don't have a good subject line. And so all of those are problems that are completely unrelated to the email itself or the video. Those only have to do with the open rate itself. Now, when you see 90 unique replied out of 98, that's an incredibly high open rate. That's over 90%. And so there's nothing wrong with this campaign in terms of opens. We kind of hit the nail on the head there. Then the second thing that I want to talk about here is unique clicked. So of those 90 that opened an email, 70 of them clicked on a link of some sort. And the only links that we include in our emails are videos. So that means of the 90 schools that opened an email, 70 of them watched one of our videos. And that means that we have done our job. If the coach opens the email and the coach clicks on a video, we have done everything that we can do to put the player in front of the coach. And at that point, it's up to them. If they're not interested, they're not interested, but we have controlled everything that we can control. And so 70 out of 90 is an incredible click-through rate. That's higher than most people's open rates would be. So we're very happy with that as well. Now here you're going to see 233 total opens. And if you remember, part of the reason that that number is going to be so high is because we send multiple follow-ups to each school. And that's going to give us the best chance of getting a reply. If you only send one email to a college coach, they might miss it. They might get busy and forget about it, or maybe it goes to their spam folder. Something happens there. And so we send multiple emails to every coach to give ourselves the best possible chance of getting a response. And so in this case, we have gotten a 91%, almost 92% open rate, even on follow-up emails. And in order to do that, that's where you have to keep the email short. You have to provide value. You have to speak the language of college coaches if you want to get an open rate like that, not just on 20 or 30 or 40 emails, but on, in this case, 233. Now here you're going to see 179 clicks. Now I'm super happy to see that. And this is probably my favorite metric of them all, because it means that we got 179 looks from college coaches in just a 10-day period. And think about how many showcases you would have to go to in order to get that kind of exposure. So as you are looking at your campaigns and you're evaluating them to see how successful they are, ask yourself, how many looks did I get from college coaches? Because if that number is under 20 or under 50, we're getting way too few looks for the effort that we're putting in, depending, of course, on how many schools that you're contacting. But in this case, we've got 179 looks. This campaign still has 25% of the way to go, and it's only the first of 2 campaigns for this athlete. And so we're going to be able to get so many more looks through email than we would if this athlete was just using showcases and camps as their primary method of exposure, which is part of why we do what we do and why we recommend that you do it too. Now, of course, the final number here that we're looking at that we love to see is 13. That's double-digit interest for this athlete. And so in 10 days, this athlete is now talking to multiple schools. And just imagine if you're trying to go to a tournament or a showcase and get interest from there, how many of those events are you walking away from and talking to dozens of schools? And my guess is that if you're watching this video, probably not happening, right? Probably not happening. And so the cool thing is that we can use email to do that kind of thing, to generate that amount of interest. And then we can take that interest and use it to then choose which showcases and camps are most worth our money and time. And so now we're not just spraying and praying in showcases and tournaments, but we're actually selectively picking ones that are going to give us the best chance of a return on investment with our time and money. So these are the takeaways from the campaign that I want you to understand. And this is what we walked away with for this particular athlete. The first one is exposure, right? We got hundreds of looks from a single campaign, and we're going to go send another one after this too. The second one is connected. So just in 10 days, we got double-digit interest. You love to see that. And then the third piece, and this is often forgotten about, but that's data. And so we now have data to use in that second campaign. And so if you look at your campaign and the first campaign has a low open rate, then there are things that you can do to fix that and improve that in the second campaign. And if you have a high open rate but a low click-through rate on your videos, then that's a whole other set of problems that you need to address and that you now can address because you have the data to know, oh, coaches aren't clicking on these videos, or maybe I need to change this body of text. There's something else in there that's going on. And because we send in 2 different batches, we can use the data from the first campaign to make the second campaign so much more effective. And so this is why you should also send your emails in multiple batches so you can use data to make the rest of your campaigns more successful. Now, these are the keys for your success. When you walk away from this video and you go, what am I supposed to take with me? Not this athlete, but me. What should I walk away with? These are the 3 things that I really want you to take away from this video, okay? The first one is volume. The more that you send, the more interest you'll get. And I know it's not fun to hear because nobody wants to go send 98 emails. Nobody wants to do that. And I get that. But the fact is, if you want results that other people aren't getting, you have to take actions that other people aren't doing. And so it's all about ordinary actions for an extraordinary period of time. And so the amount of emails that you send, the bigger your list is, the more emails you send to each school, the more interest that you're going to get. The second piece is video. You have to understand that our entire campaign is centered around getting coaches to watch video. We don't include any other links because we only want them to watch the video. And we include multiple links and we title those links very specifically. And so everything in our campaign is centered around getting the coach to watch that video. And so yours should be too. It's all about getting the coach to watch the video, because if they watch your video and they need your position and they like you, they're going to either respond to you or they're going to put you on a watch list. They're going to do something. They're not just going to let you slip through the cracks. And so we have to have that video in place. It is a critical piece of all of this. And then the third piece is data. I want you to look at your data. I want you to track your data instead of just sending from a Gmail account and not having any idea if coaches are opening your emails or clicking on your videos or replying or whatever it is. We have to actually track that data, because that tells us where the problem is, right? Imagine that you don't have any tracking on your email whatsoever. And you say, hey, Jack, I didn't get any replies. Can you fix my email? And I go in and I write you the perfect email and everything is exactly as it should be. We don't even know that that's going to work, though, because what if the problem is that coaches are never even opening the email in the first place? Maybe there's something wrong with the domain and your email account, and it's just going to the spam folder. And so I could write this perfect email for you, but if it's going to the spam folder, the college coach is never even going to see that email. But we don't know that that's the problem unless we have data to look at. And so that's why data is so critical. It tells us where the problems are, and then we can go fix those problems once we know what they are. So I hope this gives you a better idea of how you should be looking at and evaluating your own campaigns so that you can make your second and third and fourth batches much more effective than your first batch. And of course, if you need help, please feel free to reach out.